think the advanced ensemble is just letting out.
Oh, so there's going to be
There will be more.
maybe 250 people in here after.
Yeah. I think registration got up to 120. So, maybe not too many. Some story about your cello or something?
Of the instrument?
Yeah.
About, for real? Like a mystical story? Like it was made by a former lifetime of mine?
Is that what it was?
Yeah. Did I ever tell you that?
No.
What are you talking about?
I don't remember. I just have a faint memory.
I used to go to like a channel entity, you know, talk about your past lives and stuff like that. He told me that this show was made by a former expression of me.
Oh, wow.
In southern, he said, north of the Bavaria. And it didn't make sense. Anyway, I won't go into that. That was a bizarre. That I actually built this cello in a past life. Yeah.
How handy.
It's handy, yeah, and have to come back to me. Which apparently is not that unusual. That's
So when you do the sound, she know where
I'm going to do it. It might not happen. It depends. It's going to be really late in the day. Oh, it's not going to happen. We'll give you that.
Okay, welcome everybody. How are you? Great! Yes! Having some of you warming up. Yes, that's good. We save anything for the concert. But we have some really amazing thing happening right now. Today we're gonna have right now the left hand right now here is the ASTA Cello lecture series. And I want to quickly mention a little bit because this is sponsored by American String Teachers Association and the Utah ASTA. And it is an organization that is a lot of one of the biggest in the country for string teachers and for students and performers. And we definitely organize a lot of events for the ASTA. There is a fall workshop, for example, in October 26th in University of Utah. And there's master class, there's a competition as well. Those of you who are in Bryn Mawr, there's another chance to do competition. That one's for all the strings, not just cello. And then there are a lot of workshop sessions, particularly for those who may be interested to be teachers and share ideas. But right now, we are very excited to have Mr. Rodney Farrar with us to be our speaker and presenter. And Rodney is a big name in everybody in the string pedagogy world, and in Suzuki is a great performer. And I'll let you continue the other, but have degrees from Michigan, native of Ann Arbor, Michigan, sorry, and then graduated from Oberlin, and then also studied at Eastman as well as Indiana University with Ronman and Jan Schlecker. And I'll let Peter, since you have more to share.
Enjoy.
When Peter Rumney, when he first asked me, could I possibly be interested in giving a talk at this fabulous cello workshop we're having, right away, and he said it's called the keynote address. And I said, I lecture series and live streamed and recorded. So thank you, Paul, for explaining all that, why it's not called the keynote address. So I have never given a talk. That's why I said I didn't want to do it. I just have never been inclined to. And I could talk to kids all day long. This is like a new experience for me. I'm kind of frightened now. And I've been, since I said I would do this, I am awake every night at like 2 or 3 in the morning, and I'm writing down things that I'm going to say. And then I get up the next night and I write it all again, scratch it, and then I read it out loud, and every time I read it, it sounds dumber than the one that I've read before. So I'm not sure exactly how this is going to work, but I have some ideas about, I have some special ideas of my own about teaching and how we can think about why we teach and how we think about what we teach. I actually intended this title to be why we teach and what we teach, not why we teach and how we teach. I think that got lost in translation. But so those are the two things. You've all heard this. You've heard this before. I didn't make this up. It's Maya Angelou, the famous poet and racial, what do you call that? Activist. What was that called? There's a term for it. I missed the term. But anyway, so she says, people will forget what you said, and people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. I thought, wow, she said it just for me. And she probably wasn't talking about teaching. She was talking about racial integration and interactions with people. But we could say that about teaching, right? I mean, teaching is a lot about how we make people feel. And so I've written a few things, and I had promised I was going to try not to read it, but I need to go through some of the things that I wrote to make things a little bit clearer. So I wrote this statement. I don't know if it's going to resonate with anybody. So she says, people will never forget how you made them feel. I love that statement because it has so many implications about teaching. I think teaching is a lot about how we make people feel. If we understand, that teachers are in a unique position to help students feel good about themselves, and then commit to that as a priority, then the cello lesson sometimes can become a vehicle to take us to that deeper human connection that we all really want. I think I've been trying to do this for many years with some success. I also like the way it makes me feel too. I had another thought in there, but it just escaped me, so I won't go any farther with that. So I started the cello when I was 12 years old, which is really late in the game by any modern standards, and I had a wonderful teacher who did exactly that for me. Her name was Mrs. Dalley, and I can't remember what she said, and I sort of don't remember what she did, but she made me feel great. I do know what she did. Every time I was a beginner, and I would just play a few notes on the cello, and she would jump up and down and clap her hands and scream at me how fantastic I was. And I loved those lessons. That's what I remember about it. It was just such a great thing to have that feeling. The other thing the other half of this title of this talk is what we teach. And so I think I didn't talk about why we teach. It has to do with being in a position where we have an opportunity to make the kids feel good about themselves. What we teach can be something that we have no control over. That is to say, every time we open our mouth, we're revealing things about ourselves, about the kind of person that we're trying to be. And we think we're just giving a cello lesson, and actually we're teaching ourselves. Not necessarily by example, but just by our presence and by the things that we say. I have a good friend, Tanya was a little embarrassed, but I was flattered because I'm sure she meant it as a compliment. However, I had no answer. But after that meeting, I started thinking about it, and I wish I had thought to say this. Tanya, lots of times when I meet a new group of kids at a workshop, I'll ask them if they've learned the basic rosin rule yet, the BRR. And then some kid starts to explain how to put rosin on your bow, but then I interrupt and say, no, here's the rule. Never buy rosin, always borrow somebody else's. And then they say, yeah, but what if nobody has rosin? And then I explain the correlation rule is that you're allowed to have rosin if it was in the case when you got your cello, or if your mother bought it for you for Christmas or for your birthday. And if you have rosin, your job is to lend it to your friends, just tell them not to drop it. And suddenly there, these kids have never met me before, all of a sudden, I've revealed a whole bunch of stuff about myself. This is not a serious guy. Maybe he won't be so intense about the cello. Maybe he won't judge me. And the point of that was what we teach. A lot of what we teach is just who we are, expressing ourselves, and it's always searching for that human connection. Next chapter. So even though we may be going through, there may be a lot going on behind the scenes as we teach, we still have to deal with just the mechanics of playing the instrument. Different teachers have different things that we emphasize in presenting information. I have a few of my own truisms that I will share a little bit later. But first, as my wife says, in full disclosure, I must let you know that I am actually an alien. About 82 years ago, just before I was born, I communicated with my mother instead of her tongue. And as you know, babies can do that. And I told her I was arriving from Planet Yendor, which is the famous cello planet, and I want to be called Yendor. I want her to name me Yendor. And she agreed. She said, okay, you're Yendor. But she knew I was going to be weird because I was an alien, and to sort of conceal my alien identity, she spelled it backwards. So she told me about it. I looked at my birth certificate. This is Rodney. I'll tell you a little bit about the planet. It's in our solar system. Here's the sun, here's the Earth, revolving around the sun, and Planet Yendor is on exactly the other side of the sun from the Earth. And it balances, it's a sacred planet, and it balances the energy of the Earth. And everybody on that planet plays the cello. That's the purpose of the planet. The purpose of the planet is the development of cello playing techniques and some teaching ideas, and the most important part, cello chauvinistic thought. And for the kids that don't know that word, sometimes I do this in a lesson, and I ask Siri to define chauvinism, right? But in this they're both right. But it's still a thing that you need to start in a simple way and just start at the beginning and teach yourself to do that. I want to try a little bit with you guys. Now, I don't know if I can conduct this well, but I want you to do this. I want you to count and just say 1. Try it. Now go 1. Good. Now go 1, 2. Now the important thing is what you do with your voice. More important with your voice. Now go. I'm gonna add an 8th one. 1, 2. Go for it. Let's do that again. I'll go first. 1, 2. Adding an 8th. 1, 2, 3. Good. Keep the voices loud. 1, 2, 3. Oh, so now 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you're actually doing the rhythm for Dr. Suzuki said you might never be lazy, just practice and practice. So good. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So try it really fast one time. I'll just get you started here. 1, 2, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, so we're encouraging people to be interested in teaching themselves how to do this. We can't teach you to do this. You have to teach yourself to do this. Here's what happens on the shelf. We say, I should get this. We should have a subject here. We go, we say 1, we say 1, and we say 1, 2. That's tricky. 1, 2. I don't hear the tune yet. 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah. 1, 2, 3. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And when we start putting fingers on it, it gets a little more complicated. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And then sometimes you get in trouble right there. Now, so, did I tell you about the money? Oh, I forgot to. Oh, yeah. So we have an incentive for you kids to teach yourselves to do this. We actually have some genuine money from Planet Yendor and Amoy always pictures on it. And it's in Planet Yendor, it's worth, this kind of money is worth 5 female pigs and 5 male deer. That's what $1 is worth. Right? And it says, right, I have some here. It says on the back, cellists count aloud, and this is worth $10,000. 5 female pigs, 5 male. It's worth $10,000. And if you can accomplish 2 specific tasks, it would be all the way through this without missing a mistake, and you get 3 strikes in a day, and you can try it again the next day, because some people have a hard time getting through the whole thing. And I added 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, those 2 things. That's quite a big project. You get Yendor an hour. It listens after all of your cello. And it makes your cello worth $10,000 more than it was worth when you bought it in the first place. It's a fantastic thing. And I have people all That's her short name, Nicole. It'll be worth the wait. So, this is her student Ronley, who's 4 years old. She said, so Ronley announces that this challenge would be easy, since she already knew how to play the twinkle variations and proceeded to do it perfectly the first try. Any chance she could get a Yendorian dollar? And I said, absolutely, send a dress, unless you want a photo to print. So I got her here from Ronley in New York City. And so here she is. You won't be able to see this, it's tiny. So, that's awesome. You could, all you kids can learn how to do that, all right? And I don't want you to promise me, but I want to tell you, I'm encouraging you to do that. Okay, so, different teachers are interested in different things, different emphases, and I'm not sure, I haven't watched anybody else teach for a long time, and I know the sort of things that I think are important, so I'm just going to mention a couple of them, maybe 3 or 4 of them. And it has to do with signals that I use when we're playing, and I just say, like I give an order, and it means a certain thing to the students, and they learn what that is. I mean, I say stuff like tell me about half steps, and they say, the smaller the better. But that's a good one. I can't think of another one. Oh, I say, how do we move from place to place on the cello? And the kids, they regurgitate back to me. We go from place to place and shape to shape, not from this finger on this note to that finger on that note. And that turns out to be really important when I'm talking about it a little bit later. So my first signal that I give is called bow first. Mean anything? Bow first. Ever heard that? I made that up. Bow first. And what I discovered with kids, and maybe adults too, there seems to be, I think, a little wire from this hand that goes up your arm and goes across your scalp, and there's another little wire from here that goes up, and they're twisted together in a little pigtail underneath your scalp. And it's true. And what happens is it makes your hands want to do the same thing. Like, and the most troublesome one is like shifting on two notes sort together. So I've got this thing. Well, I'll give you some demonstration about it. This is bow first. If I go. That's not bow first. This is bow first. I think that sounds cool. And that's also, I also call that a 2-note gesture. And anybody know Alan Harris? Alan Harris. Still teaches at Eastman School. His daughter's studied with me for a few years in Denver, and he would stop on his way to teaching at ASTA like 2 or 3 years in a row. He stopped to watch lessons with his daughter. And he heard me say, I think he heard me say 2-note gesture, because I think I made that up. And when I watched the video of his not that long ago, he was referring to something as a 2-note gesture, so I think he stole that from me. And I'm going to get on his case or something. For example, if we go, so what's happening here is the action of the left hand is causing the bow to do nasty stuff, right? If we go like, here's bow first. Bow thinking about shapes. We all know this. But sometimes I'll just have a student put all four fingers on the fingerboard, on the A string, and sort of put them on first position. You can try to do it on your arm, right? You just line them up, don't look, just sort of open your hand a little bit, and make them fall, and lean it back a little bit. I like pronation a little bit. And take a look at your fingers and tell me which two are the closest together. And everybody's got 2 and 3 almost touching each other, right? And I have a special name for that shape. Well, we have shapes. We have the two shape. We have a two shape, which is 1, 2, 4. A three shape, 1, 3, 4. The X shape, which is 2 whole steps in a row, extension, right? And then this other one is my favorite one. It's called the no-no shape. And the question is, when are you supposed to use that shape? And the answer is hardly ever. And the other question is, when do most of us use that shape? And the answer is all the time. That's the way our hands grow. I asked the kids, I said, if you're doing that all the time when you play the cello and you see your finger, what does that prove about you? What if you see that? It proves that you're from the earth. That's all. That's what humanoids do. They have their hands shaped like that. I wonder if there's something else about the shapes. Oh, yes. It's something that happened a long time ago. The little aside about the extended shape. I like the idea of the extended shape, but I would quit referring to this a long time ago as a forward extension, because to me the extension is a shape, right? And we can extend backwards, and that's called a backward extension or extending backwards. But when we go this way, I've taken to calling that an anchored shape. Anchor shape, and boy, that saves a lot of trouble. I used to have to ask the kids, did you remember to move your thumb? Oh no, I forgot to move my thumb. And I would say, a forward extension is the same thing as a shift, which means you need to remember to move your thumb. Okay, I did that like 10,000 times. And now I have a signal that's called go there. Sorry. My signal is go there. And that go there, for me, in my teaching, I try to reserve that term for moving from first position to a half step forward, like in sharps. We do with fourth finger, F, C, D, D, Father Charles goes down, and all that fellows there. I have all these funny things that I say. So you can go, there are 2 ways you're allowed to go from first position to position 1 and a half. That would be half step forward. One of them is called a shift, the other one is called an anchor shift. Okay? And if you don't need the anchor, you don't do it. You just go there, and everything goes there. You move there. It's a shift, and you move your thumb and your hand together. That's been a lifesaver for me for the last 30 years. When I talk about did you move your thumb, right? Because it's a shift. So I don't know if that's helpful to anybody, but I don't think I invented that. There's somebody that I heard say that, and I thought, wow, why don't I quit saying forward extension? No more forward extensions, right? Backward extension, yes, go there. And you can either go there as an anchor shift or a real shift. I'll show you a real shift. Go there. Go to position. Or how about one where you have to do the anchor. It's a good example of that. We try not to. Sometimes we go there 1 note at a time. Your favorite 8 notes that you have, the most lucrative 8 notes you can know in the cello. Dollars per note. You know this. So we go there 1 note early. And I say, go there. We're putting 2 or 3 used to was. And then we're in position 1 and a half. And everything moves on and on. Okay, I think that's all I want to say about shapes. The thing I said about moving, this is a really important one to me. Just lately in my teaching, I just finally figured this out. To have the kids brainwashed to be thinking that we we move around the cello, and we shift around on the inside edges of the strings, and we call that our transportation system. We travel on the inside edges of the strings. And I said it already, we move from place to place and shape to shape, rather than from thinking this finger and that finger and like that. So it's just a different way of thinking about it, but it affects the way you actually the way you execute it. You're thinking shape, shape, place, place. And then the last thing that I came up with, which I'm excited about because I started doing it myself, is I'm having the kids actually interrupt the rhythm of a piece by stopping every time they have to shift and isolating the shift and making it be a separate thing, so that they're thinking about the shift and noticing if they're sliding on the inside edge of the string, etc., etc. Let me see if I can think of a good example. If we go. So we're stopping and preparing to shape each time. And I've been working on this piece. You know that one, right? How about, or, get the finger on. And I'm going to be able to play that piece someday because now I know how to practice it. So I think that's all I want to say about place to place and shape to shape and interrupt. I've actually called it stop to shift. You're stopping the action to do the shift and isolating the shift. That's become a really important part of my pedagogy. A couple kids have just started with me this year, and they are already fantastic. I talked about Tanya Carey. We had a conversation at that same meeting that I was talking about where she was asking me why kids like me or something like that. I said, Tanya, do you remember, because she's about 2 years older than me. And I said, do you remember when you were a kid and you were learning to play the cello and they showed you where to put your fingers down here in first position, and then pretty soon you learned how to use your third finger, second finger, 3 high, 2 low, or you learned how to do a back, point your ear and fan the side of your finger to your backward extension, and then you learned how to maybe go to position 1.5, and then you learned about fourth position, and you got into this thing about some kids would rather go back and forth between first and fourth rather than go like that, right? Because it's sort of the syndrome. They learn fourth position, and wow, those are the 16 easiest notes to find on the cello, right there. And then you remember when we started playing up high on the cello. This was my experience. You're on your own 50 years ago. And she said, yes. She said, there was no pedagogy for playing up high. Now, we know that's not true anymore because we hear all this fantastic cello playing yesterday with all your kids playing up high without any issue about that. But one of the things I want to say that I believe really strongly now about playing up high on the cello is we need to start it right away when you play the cello. Just get up there and just get over thinking that that's where all the hard stuff is. That's actually where all the easy stuff is, because you can play 4 notes in one place, right? And I don't want to talk about violinists too much, but there's something really unfair about the difference between the violin and the cello when it comes to running around the instrument. Cellists have to go, we talked about shapes. X, 2, 2, 3. X, 2 shape, 2 shape, 3 shape. All the major scales are figured that way. X. They all figured that way, especially the ones that have lots of sharps and flats on them. So we have to go. Violinists have to go. See, how fair is that? That's disgusting. So there's another thing about the violinists that we get from violinists that seems like they think that they own the whole musical string playing universe. We say
no difference. That's the thing. The cello, most of the cello fingering charts are nothing more than a violin fingering chart with the cello notes written on it, right? It's got this weird scroll, and so I, long time ago, I decided that's violin. It makes sense on the violin. You can see the chart and you can reach over like that and put your fingers on it. The only way you can get your fingers on a cello chart that's really a violin chart, get out of this chair and go behind the stand and reach around and put your fingers on it. So I use a chart and I make them, and the scroll is back here on the chart, and you're moving forward, and so it's like upside down. It's like the fingerboard's up here and the scroll is down here, and you can actually put your hands on it and sort of realize. And I have a bunch of those with me if anybody wants to see an example. And not only that, I make them with the standard fingering groupings where I do color coded, like each of the notes is red, blue, green, like that. And I've done lots of that. And I keep thinking someday there's going to be a book that's full of that stuff, but I don't know if that's going to happen. But I brought just a few of those. I think I have them here, if anybody wants to see one of them. So here's what I'm doing with beginners, with playing a guitar. We put a pencil mark where the harmonic is, or you could take that where the half string harmonic is, and we have them rest their thumb on two strings. And when they put it first, we make a tall, curvy first finger and kind of go to the inside edge of the string, hold it down, and we say that's a B. Okay, this place on the cello is where all the notes start over again. It's the whole cello start. Everything's exactly half the size that it was right there, right? And they have all the same names, so they do B and they go up, and go up, and go up. And I do copycat. I go this first. And then they copycat. And then I say, oh, we go again. Find the harmonic again. Not put two fingers down. That's called C, right? This is A, B, C. This is C. C is by the second finger. And I always do this backwards because it's a lot easier to do it backwards. Move up. So now we do C sharp also with the two. And when you shift back, you slide on 3 because even back here it's going to be 3 up here and stuff. Up here it's a 2. Down there it's a 3. And we do the same thing. And then we do your third finger on D, and we slide back on 4. And a little bit later in the game, we try to do it in the proper direction. We go down low this time. Three goes to 2, slides back on 3. 4 goes to 3, we slide back on 4. And I do that every day. I do that for myself every day because I'm just starting to learn where the notes are. As you'll find out when I play concert this afternoon. So, yeah, that's the last thing I want to say about playing a guitar. I have a question. And my first question is what time?
1:43.
Can we go an hour?
Yeah.
So, I asked the kids, do you play in tune by the way it feels or by the way it sounds? What do you think? Who thinks by the way it sounds? Who thinks by the way it feels? It's like half and half. And so, if I say, do you play by the way it feels or by the way it sounds, the answer is yes. Yeah, of course, we do both. But which one predominates? And I think by feel, right? For one thing, you can't hear yourself in the orchestra. Right? That can make things feel right. Number two, by the time you put your finger down, it's too late when you add a finger. And by the time you shift to a long note, you have to know what that feels like. You can't go, oh yeah, you can't do that by ear. So I try to make a point with my students that most of what we do when we're playing is training ourselves to know what it feels like to play the notes in tune. Another question for the kids is, what's the most important thing to know about a piece of music it's time to play it. And just try it. Anybody, I'll ask any kids, what do you think is the most important thing to know about a piece when it's time to play it? If you learn it and it's all ready to go, you're sitting on stage, ready to go, the most important thing to know about it is what? How it feels. That's a good one. I like that. It's not exactly what I have in mind, but you're really close. Some people say, no, you have to know the key signature, and you have to know the bones, and and my answer to that is how it goes. How does it go? And I've got this big sign in my studio. It's one word, H-O-W-Z-A-T-G-O. How's that go? And I asked anybody, do you know Old MacDonald had a farm? Raise your hand, anybody. How's it go? We know what that means. If we know what that means, if we say that's an American English, American idiom. We say, how does something go? That means open your mouth and show me with the sound. So if you know how something goes, what does it mean you can do? You can play it. No, your mother knows how it goes, and she can't play it, right? So the answer is, you open your mouth and show us how it goes with your voice. We sing every day. We don't call it singing, especially here in high school. We don't just call it singing. We call it, guess what we call it? Showing how it goes. So it's great. So a little bit of brain anatomy. There's a place. It's kind of an undisclosed location, but it's near the center of your brain. There's a place in there about that thick around where all of your smart stuff comes from. And when something pops into your mind and you think, wow, where did that come from? How could I have thought of that? It comes from that place in your brain where you're really brilliant. And if you hear something that you want to remember, you stick it right there. You stick it right in that place in your brain so that it's stored there where all your smartest stuff is, right? And it just happens that when we learn music, that's where it goes. It goes to that place in your brain where you're so smart. And the more music you stuff in there, this is the ironic thing about this spot in your brain. And I'm going to give it a name here in a minute, but some of you might be guessing it has some fancy medical term, but there's a better name for it. The more stuff that you put in there, the more room there is. Which has to be true. If you think about the great cellists, like somebody like Starker, Rostropovich, and lots of living ones now, who have everything ever written for the cello, all memorized. They can sit down and play every concerto ever written, all from memory. I mean, that just seems superhuman, but it's because those guys just kept cramming that stuff in that place where you're so smart. Now, there's a name for that spot. I call it your how's it goes-ness. Your how's it goes-ness. Right? So I think I had another point to make about that. Anyway, so you put stuff in your house. Oh, I know what it was. I did a workshop in Texas one time, in Fort Worth, Texas. And I told this dumb story about your house of goes-ness. And some woman after the class came up to me and said, I'm a brain scientist. She said, you think you're just being cute and kind of funny and clever about the house of goes. She said, what you just explained is not that far from the truth. I had no idea, but it makes sense to me. It really makes sense to me when you think about people that can just memorize endless stuff and just have to memorize for a lifetime. So take care of your house of goes-ness. I guess that's what I want to say about that. One last sort of, it's important to me, but I don't know, I said, anybody use a mirror when you practice? Yeah. Anybody not use a mirror? Raise your hand if you never used a mirror. We're just curious. Maybe some of the parents over there that never played the cello before, they never used a mirror to play the cello. So your teachers tell you to use a mirror. And I sat, like for 20, 30 years, looking at myself in the mirror straight ahead, thinking how cute I was, right? And playing along, and things to memorize, and I'm washing my face and being like that. And I think I discovered this, I don't think anybody showed me this. If you that. Just the profile of the bridge, side view. You don't want to see that. You don't want to see the front. You don't want to see the back, like that. And then you start. And then you. If it's crooked, you get a little triangle. I mean, we want to make the hair and the side of the bridge make railroad tracks, totally parallel. So I just say that's how we use a mirror. You need to put it from the side, not in the front. Has anybody ever done that before? With a mirror on the side? Has anybody sat? I'm curious now. Has anybody sat with a mirror and just looked straight at it? Has anybody done that? Yeah. I won't say that's nonsense. You know, that's useful in some ways, but you really can't tell if your bow is parallel to the bridge, if it's perpendicular on the outer strings. So I'm challenging you to try that sometime next time you have a mirror in your life and you're sitting with your cello. Just try looking at it from the side. So those are a few of my little ideas about it. I wonder if there's something else. I think that's all. But I want to re-emphasize this thing about why we teach. Why I teach, and the crux of that is you don't have to think that way. You know, if you know that that as a teachers we have the unique position of being in a position to affect how people feel, right? And you can make them feel good or you can make them feel bad. I mean, both of those things happen. But I think we need to lean in the direction of making our students feel good about themselves and about what they're doing. And like I was saying to Peter, it's almost more important that they feel good about themselves than that if they're learning the cello at all. But I also think that if you come at teaching with that mindset, it's like a miracle. You hold that thing out like an ideal and just hang on to it and keep remembering why you're doing this thing. It's about this human connection. So I think that winds me up. I might want to say 2 words. Oh, I'm forgetting something really important. I taught for years and years, and I get people contact me on Facebook and Facebook Messenger, and those things accumulate in my Facebook Messenger because I don't know how to delete them because I don't know how that works. So I can go searching for this stuff, and I went searching for some of these messages the other day, and I want to read some of them to you. This is not to pump myself up, but it makes me really emotional when I read this stuff. So this is Virginia. It's nice to find you on Facebook. You don't remember me. You probably don't remember me, but I was in one of the string classes you taught at UK for music education majors. That was like 1968. I was never any good with the viola or cello, but I still love the sounds of those instruments, and music has been a lifelong joy. I hope life has been good to you. You were a kind person. Isn't that awesome? Rodney, you probably don't remember me from Adam, but many years ago you were very kind to me. I was seeking an apprenticeship in Lexington, Kentucky with Lawrence LeMay, and you spent a lot of your day talking to me about that. I had just finished graduate school, and although LeMay and I didn't click, I continued to work on the goal of becoming a luthier. And he goes on talking about his career, and then he became a luthier in 1995. Not as lucrative as TV, but more satisfying. I primarily make double basses and violas. I've had some good cellos, but I would like to make more. But my reputation seems to be from basses and violas. You also were the first person to mention either Wendy or Libby to me, and we're friends on Facebook. At any rate, I still remember your kindness and encouragement. You made a difference in my life. Hey Rodney, I just fell down a rabbit hole of extreme nostalgia thinking about learning bass and percussion and ways of thinking about learning and random nuggets of aerodynamics and styrofoam cutting from you. It's been a few decades and I haven't picked up my bass in a while, but if this finds you, I hope you and your family are well. Matt, I won't pester you too much. You've had thousands of students, but thank you so much for the summer cello choir at Stevens Point. It changed my life, as did the other lessons and ensembles there. And I responded and he said, cool, I still play cello, mostly a 7-string electric of my own design and someone else's skill to build. I play lots of rock, blues, jazz, funk, country, folk, country, but I'm getting back to classical too. I just started a string quartet with 3 fillers, 2 of whom can double on viola, taking turns. We're going to read through the Ravel String Quartet and some Turtle Island String Quartet scores. Once again, much obliged for the lessons in musical intimacy and ensemble, which I still use to this day, even in band situations. A rock band can be a chamber ensemble, just less louder. Hi, Rodney. I don't know if you remember me, but I'm Richard Steffen's daughter. You taught me cello when I was in elementary school. I'm now an associate professor of music education at Colorado State University in Chico. Dad and I were talking about you when I was young and remembered you. And I thought I would try to find you, and I did. I hope you are doing well. Thank you for the musical accommodations you gave me and for your patient, kind teaching style. Thank you. Take care. And she called me a couple weeks after that, after she said that, and said she was going to see her dad, who was looking pro, and with one of her sisters. And they were all there together, and I talked to Dick Steffen on the phone. Hadn't seen him since 1985. Didn't know anything. I didn't know they were in Utah, right? And he. So this was serendipitous. So I talked to him about a half an hour. We swung down memory lane and talked about Potsdam, New York, and all the stuff that we did. And then Michelle called me 2 weeks later and said he had died. So that's a poignant thing to have that kind of coincidence happen. Just like she contacted me. I hadn't seen her since 1985. So they just come every once in a while into my Facebook mostly. Right? So that's all I want to say. And Peter says we need to wrap it up, so we're wrapping it up. And I want to thank you for indulging in my I made a CD 25 years ago, and I brought like 120 copies of it, and they're out on the desk out there. And I'm going to beg you to take that little piece of tape off, because you know that there's no crystal case, there's jewel case, there's no cellophane. I've got like that many CDs. I have this confession that people have given me or traded with me, other musicians, and they still have the cellophane on, right? Because I just am lazy about that. So this would be easy to listen to. I don't know if people have CD players anymore. I don't even know. But if you have it in your car, stick it in the car. It's cello ensembles, and it's kind of for kids mostly. And I'm begging you to listen to it because I think it's great. And I put my contact information. I stuck to it, so you can call me and tell me how awesome you think it is. Or call me and tell me you need like 10 more copies for your students or something like that. So yeah, that's that winds it up. I'm so happy you asked me to do this. Really, now that it's over. Most important thing. I'm going to play at a recital at 2 o'clock, and I need some rosin.